And a hearty welcome to Haiku Friday, November 14th, 2025. My gosh, we have some very fun haikus this morning. Uh, you know, I don't know why, but they seem to be like through the roof. I'm really happy with these haikus. And just enjoying a little decaf Earl Grey. Cut decaf Earl Grey, 2 bags to 1 bag of red rose caffeinated. The Earl Grey is decaffeinated, so a somewhat caffeinated tea this morning. I think I'm caffeinated enough. So let's get going on some haikus. We have a couple from Max Q. Now, Max is so good at heading up some Wordle competitions, which I have been very happy to be a part of lately. And so his hands have been very busy with the Wordle stuff, and he almost forgot to turn in some haikus. But once you get that haiku hose opened up, that valve opened up, the haikus are hard to stop. So he sent me 2 haikus right off the bat, even though he had none this morning. He came up with 2. So you're going to hear how good these haikus are, and I want you to remind yourself how easy it is to do a haiku. I mean, yes, Max Q is an expert at these, but you can do them just as quickly, I believe. Here we go. First one from Max Q. Yes, forgetful me. Chicken's head. I'm going to start over. I mispronounced chicken. Yes, forgetful me. Chicken's head chopped off, you see. Busy. Too busy. Extra points for rhyming. Remember, you don't have to rhyme your haikus. In fact, most haikus are not rhymed, but that's a little frosting on the cake of haikus this morning for Max Q. Second one for Max Q. Typo-filled morning. My auto-correct gone wild. Proofreading required. Wow, I have to say, Max Q, if I don't proofread everything these days, I don't know. I'm not this whole AI business, when they can't even do autocorrect, when they autocorrect to something just bizarre that has no pertinence at all to what you're writing. I don't know. I'm not too hopeful for AI. All right. Thanks, Max Q. Wunderbar. Now we have one from Bill. And to set this one up, Bill sent me a photograph of, I think he was in Taipei, and there was a fire engine. And it's fun when you look at old fire engines from the Far East. They're usually very small, kind of cute, like little Tinker Toy type things. They're cool looking, or not Tinker Toy, Tonka Toy. Anyway, this one was right up against it looked like it was not going to clear the apparatus bay door, and you know what? Upon further inspection, Bill found that it did not clear the door. So he was inspired by the sight to write this haiku. Crap. Is it that tall? Captain's going to be pissed. The rest go high. I'm going to start over. Crap. Is it that tall? Captain's going to be pissed. The rest go and hide. And I related to Bill that recently I drove by my old station, and you could tell that there had been a backing accident. Looked like maybe the door hadn't been raised all the way when they backed in or pulled forward, and the last 2 panels had been torn off the door and had been replaced by still yet to be painted panels, which is sort of the telltale apparatus door of shame that you see when driving around. If you ever see that driving around Lee Spokane, you go, why are the bottom 2 panels of that garage door white and the rest of the door is brown? Well, that's why. Somebody didn't wait for the door to be all the way up before they took off, or didn't wait for it to be all the way up before they backed in. All right. Thank you, Bill. And Bill sent a great picture of this too. And if I remember, I will post it on this. Okay, here is one from Rikosan. A deceased spider, face down in the bacon grease. Hard luck or sweet dreams? Yeah, you do see spiders sometimes in that way. Years ago, when I made my first batch of sauerkraut, I got a mason jar and I looked at that thing and I washed it out and I'm like, I want to make sure that there are no spiders in this jar before I pack it full of cabbage. And you know what? When I opened that jar after it turned into sauerkraut, lo and behold, there was a spider right on top, a big old spider. And you just think, my gosh, these spiders, are they suicidal? I don't know. Anyway, that is a great haiku and it made me laugh. Thank you, Riko-san. All right. Here is mine. And it's not funny. It's not political. Actually, we had no political haikus this morning. I guess things are getting so creative politically that it's hard to keep it's hard to hard to do any kind of satire around these things, but or to make art around politics because it's just so weird right now. But here is mine. Ballooning fall leaves settle snug in their last work, the price of fine soil. There you have it. So that concludes the reading of the haikus this morning. And if you want to stay tuned, I'll tell you a little bit what's going on now. Let's see. Trans Day of Remembrance is next week on Thursday. It's always November 20th, a day where people around the world gather around to remember transgender people who were killed. Trans people have a statistic say a 4 times more likelihood of being killed than their cisgender brothers and sisters. So one of these will be taking place in Coeur d'Alene, and I encourage you to look that one up. It's called Transgiving, Transgender Day of Remembrance also, and that is on November 20th, and it's out in Coeur d'Alene, and I believe it starts at 5. There's some food afterwards if you're interested, some fellowship and some food. And yours truly will be a guest speaker at that. I've been asked to speak. So I've been working on a speech and I'll have that. It's getting better. I finally got in the groove I wanted to get in. And so I just need to kind of work on it a little bit more, but that'll be Thursday. Saturday of next week, a week from tomorrow, I believe, the 22nd? Is going to be Trans Day of Remembrance here in Spokane at the Central Library. That's the library in Maine, on Main Street, basically, over by River Park Square. That will be 2 o'clock, I think. But you can look these things up. Just look up Trans Day of Remembrance, Coeur d'Alene, Trans Day of Remembrance, Spokane. It'll take you right there. And that one I've been asked to do a little something, and there's a bunch of us doing little somethings at that. So I am going to, I worked on a little poem that I had done some years ago, and I think I'll reread that poem. And yes, so that's going on if you're interested. Our lives right now really revolve around a lot of Sarah's chemo, her breast cancer. That seems to be going pretty well. As those of you who have done chemo, this is like every 3 weeks. It's 4 different drugs. It's a long session, anywhere from 5 to 7 hours each time. And Sarah has to put on these gloves that have ice and booties that have ice on them, so she doesn't get neuropathy in her fingers and her toes. The first week is pretty rough. The first day afterwards is not too bad, but then all the drugs wear off. And then it's bad 3 or 4 days, and then steadily gets better. And by the next Monday, she's pretty much back to normal. She's losing all her hair. Still goddamn gorgeous to me, I think. And but anyway, she is doing pretty good with it, and she's been really good about reaching out to friends. I think people feel kind of awkward when you get cancer, what they're supposed to do and say. We've gotten lots of love, lots of prayers, and if you're praying for us and sending love our way, always appreciate that. So, speaking of prayers and love, I finished. Well, I think I finished. I came back to this painting yesterday after I thought I had finished it, and but I worked on it some more, and I wouldn't be surprised if I do that again today. But I like this painting, and let me just show it to you right now. Let's see. I guess you can see it pretty good like that. It's a little bit washed out with all the light. You just have to imagine it's a little more vibrant than maybe showing on there. And then we've got, if you want to see right there, we've got a kind of an immigrant family, maybe an African American family, maybe a family of Native Americans. Who knows? But all we know is they're brown-skinned people. And this angel is a little bit tanned. And looking down at, I was going to paint red MAGA hats in there, but I thought, you know what? I don't need to hold people's by the hands on this. If you notice, the angel itself has, and this family has like little halos around them, because I think about the Holy Family during Christmas season. And this angel's gown, or whatever you want to call it, is blue, white, and pink, as in the colors of the transgender flag, and its wings are the colors of the pride flag. And I don't know whether to call this Antifa angel, anti-ICE angel, anti-fascist angel, anti-MAGA angel. There's so many different things. Anti-cult angel? I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to go with that, so I haven't really named it yet. But what I'm thinking about doing, and I haven't really hashed this idea out completely, but we're all friends here. So what I've been thinking about doing is I'm going to make this my Christmas card this year. And I'm thinking about if people want a print of this as in a Christmas card. It'll be about, I think, 4x6. It's the size of it, maybe a little bit smaller. If somebody would like that, just to maybe you put it up on your wall or something like that. I don't know. If you like that, I would send you a copy of that as a little Christmas card. And you can keep that, and it would be free. But I would need your address, and I would need I would love your email address too. Just when I get ready to do some art shows and stuff, I'm kind of trying to build a database. I have built a database, which I've never used because I'm not good at selling things. But I'm not selling this. I'm giving it away. So I will be putting a Facebook post about that, and maybe even in some other things I will put up there too. So anyhow, that's it. That's all I got for you today, and I hope you have a great weekend. Send me your haikus. Why don't you? Send them to haikufriday.com, and visit me in all the socials and all that stuff. Spokanorama on my blog spot, MaveGriffith.com for the artwork, Spokanorama.com for more wackiness, and of course there's Facebook, which I've tried to wean myself of, but I'm going back to it. As I said of St. Joan of Arc, a lot of people don't know this, but Joan of Arc was actually burned at the stake for wearing men's clothing. It's pretty well documented. It's not usually the tale we hear about Joan of Arc, but you can look at the historical references there. And they burned her finally because she could not quit wearing men's clothes, and they wrote, like a dog that crawls back to eat its own vomit, she keeps wearing men's clothes. And so like a dog crawling back to its own vomit, I keep going back to Facebook. Yes, I can't resist. But you can check me out on Blue Sky too. I also have a Substack, which I'm not doing much on. I'm just posting the same crap all over the place. And you can check me out there. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Haiku Friday. It was kind of a long one. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Bye now.